do it. Get this show on the road. Hi everyone, this is Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube video of the week. If you're new to my channel, I always invite you guys to go to my website. That's themodernshaman.net. There's a ton of resources there. Most of you guys already know, you check it out, but if you haven't, do so. My teaching program, which is really the heart of why I feel I was put here on this planet during this time, to kind of be a forerunner to really encourage people to learn about their psychic abilities, which is absolutely primal to the existence of a soul and a human body, which means everybody can connect. Everyone has access to their multidimensional capabilities. And I just truly believe we live and breathe in it 24/7. It's time you learn how to swim and sing. It's like a fish never learning how to swim in water. I think it's time, if you haven't learned about your psychic abilities, I mean, that sounds like a fancy word, but essentially, it's just your metaphysical connections, the part of you that is not just physical, that is soul infused in through this form. Learning how to use those aspects of yourself that you probably used when you were a kid, and then somehow you forgot. That's most of us. I feel very strong about it in order for those of us as humankind, as a species, to continue to evolve on this planet. I think it's time that we utilize our full capacity. So check out my teaching program. It is a masterclass. It's on my website. Those of you then that feel motivated to share with mankind from your gifts, to teach others, to heal others, to work as a conduit and a bridge and a medium for others. Those classes in terms of spiritual entrepreneurship are also available if you want to take it to the next level. And I just really encourage you guys that if you have a nudging on your heart, I know that when I started out in this type of thing, I was always gifted and connected, as I believe we all are. But there was something that felt curious for me that was like, that would be cool. That's interesting. I'm just into it. And that was kind of where I got started. I was just kind of into it. It just interested me. It's never something I thought about doing for a living or thought about, having this platform. I just followed my intuitive curiosity. And if that's you, I just want to encourage you to continue to go where your heart is leading you. That's all on the website, as well as sessions with me if you'd like to meet one-on-one for healing work, ceremony work, as well as just professional readership, psychic abilities in terms of future probabilities, past life viewings, mediumship, you name it. It's all there, and I would love to be of service in any way that seems relevant or that connects with your heart. Okay, here's the question that came in for this week. Oh, and I want to apologize. I wasn't on here last week. I got the flu, and y'all, I haven't had the flu since I was like a kid. I really never got sick that often. I blame that on my largely plant-based, very high vibrational diet. I've been a vegetarian since I was like a teenager, forever. And pretty much all high vibrational, loaded with energy, a lot of alive fruits and seeds and just, anyways. So I really don't get sick that often, but when I had that surgery, if y'all remember, I had that emergency surgery, lost a lot of blood, got a lot of blood transfusions, many, and I've just been immune compromised, and I got the flu, and it was freaking horrible. I was in bed for a week last week. That's what I was doing. I mean, it was bad. I was like, man, I hadn't had the flu like this since I was a kid. So I have compassion now for those of you guys that get the flu. It's like, I've never gotten the flu shot or anything. I just used to never get it. But my immune system's not fully at its heightened capacity. So I'm still healing, I think, from my surgery. Anyway, so that's why I was out last week. We're back this week with another video. And this question came in a couple weeks back, but I'm just now able to get to it. It says, Rachel, thanks so much for your channel. It really brings me up and I watch it religiously every week. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're here with us. I just feel like that's such a shared energy, like a bubble of happy. Okay. I was raised Catholic/Christian and walked away from the church because I lost belief in the system when I was younger. I then got my Reiki certification and became drawn to a more spiritual approach to tarot. But lately I felt like this system has deception in it too. I just feel lost and disillusioned by so many systems that used to guide me towards spirit. I would appreciate any advice you could give to get back on a heartfelt connection to spirit. Yeah, when you've kind of lost your way. I have a lot of empathy for your question. I think so many people can relate to that. Yeah, the first thing I want to say as a piece of advice for you, I'm going to give you some homework, actually. I'm going to give you some things to do, because it's one thing to hear it and to have somebody sit up here and talk about it, and it's another thing to have something to do. And doing brings change. The action in your life will undoubtedly bring change in your relationship to Supreme Creator. So don't just think about it. Don't just read about it. Don't just listen to videos about it. Have an action that you do that takes it into a more tangible sense of connection. And so I'm going to give you some homework along with advice and answer to your question. I think so many people can resonate with that, because essentially what you're sharing is the disconnect of a system to a living spirit. The systems are human. They're fallible. They change. They vary with culture, where you live, the time you live in, the people you're around. And systems function for a time, and then they have to be upgraded. They're very mechanical, right? And so whether it's a system of church or a system of tarot or a mantra that you always do, or a posture that you always do, it still requires maintenance that feels mechanical, and that's okay. Like, make peace with that ritual and ceremony and things have an aspect to them that is mechanical and is a system, and so it's going to feel like that, right? The part that makes these things, and whatever they may be, the type of communication infused with connection and heart and sincerity and love and divine resonance for you, that comes from a relationship with your Supreme Creator. And I'm saying Supreme Creator, and I don't care what term you use what feels inspired to you. When I think of universe, and I hear people say prayers to the universe, to me it's too big. And it almost feels so scientific that it feels stale, or like there's no personality. So for me, I like Supreme Creator. Like, this feels huge and vast and absolutely accessible and relatable. So that's what I like. But you know what? When you think about, let me just make an analogy here. When you think about, let me give you a scenario. You're out on the street, you're walking around, you see somebody that's attractive, and you're like, that person's cute. And naturally, you kind of bring up conversation, and you exchange phone numbers, and you're excited about it. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. And you get butterflies in your stomach, and you can't wait to hear from them again. And then they text you. And they're like, oh, you're amazing. I think you're great. I love spending time with you. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And you're like, me too. And you're sending this back and forth dialogue where you're excited about the conversation. In your head, you don't have to create a ritual or a system of belief around the fact that you're thinking about them all the time. You're making plans in your head of the next time you're going to talk to them, or the next time you're going to see them, or what you could do together on a date, or, just things you love about them. You cannot help it. It bubbles up from inside, that loving aspect of you that sees something and appreciates it and values something in another individual. And I'll take that, right, and magnify that analogy for the Supreme Creator. When you are in a space that's allowing communication, that's inspired, that you're excited about, that you're connecting with your sense of beyond this material life, you don't have to create ritual around it. I mean, it's so natural because you love it, right? And so, sorry, I'm still healing. So much of that relationship are just, my piece of advice would be to develop that, strengthen that, because that's beyond any religious, dogma or practice. It just doesn't matter. That stuff is kind of silly. Like the date and what you do doesn't matter so much as the person you're with, the one you love, right? So the technicals, just let them stay peripheral, and that's fine. Make peace with that. But get excited and infuse the energy of connection in your relationship with the Supreme Creator. So if you haven't had that in a while, the homework would be to do things that make you feel in awe and wonder of the Creator. So some examples for me, I can just give you, is like if I lay down at night under the stars and let myself contemplate that vastness, look at them all, watch them for a while. I mean, just no time on your clock. You don't have your phone around you. You're just sitting in wonder and awe of what literally is there all the time available to you, but you're just contemplating it. You're sitting and saturating yourself with the energy of awe of the creation. This is beautiful and it feels wonderful. So why don't we do it, right? It's peaceful. It brings grace. It brings connection. We feel relaxed. It's beautiful, okay? Give yourself that. Some homework to stargaze at night where you just take a night picnic. My kids and I love doing this, right? You get the blanket out, you get some snacks out there, you all lay on your back and you just have some popcorn, some grapes, and you just talk about it. Like, what do you see? What, and usually you see a shooting star, you see some crazy UFO looking thing, you feel the presence of some past ancestor that's speaking to you, or the wind blows on you and you just feel the presence of something beyond our physical understanding, beyond what we normally live in and breathe in, and this awareness of how vast creation is takes over. It's beautiful. There's one piece of homework that will strengthen your relationship, spending time with the Creator and contemplating the magnitude of that, stretching your mind into awe and wonder. That's a magical aspect of bringing magic into your world, because it's something that we can't really explain. We don't understand all of it. And it's literally just inviting the energy of magic, the energy of the beyond into our head, into our thoughts, into our awareness, into the energy of of our daily living. Easy. Another thing I'm going to give you as homework is go sit in nature and watch some animals. watch bugs, watch insects, watch squirrels, whatever you have that's native around you. Go out to a park or your own neighborhood. If you're behind your house, anywhere that's accessible, bird watch. Again, put yourself in the awareness of another species, something beyond that is from the Creator that we have access to, and engage in communication. Ask if they have a message for you. Ask for a sign. Again, engage with that magical aspect of what you feel like you're seeking and missing from your sense of ritual or from a religious path or a certification that you got that did at one point seem energetic, Reiki certification that you mentioned, and felt magical, but then becomes a practice or becomes stale with your energy. Reinvigorate your aspects that are kind of new to you, okay? Sitting in nature and communing with animals is a surefire way to strengthen your sense of mediumship, your telepathic communication to the non-physical. And this is the way we talk to angels, to our ancestors, to Creator in our prayers, to our higher guidance and our guides, and those that we feel like are on the other side that have a perspective beyond what we have, through your own wisdom and highest aspect of the self that is always there and open to connect with you. So this is another beautiful activity. Do it. When you feel stale in your religiosity of kind of the practices that we've created as humans. Another one that's kind of sacred and kind of sensual would be to get naked in like the moonlight when it's private, or get naked in the sunlight when it's private. Have a sense of purification where you feel like it's a sacred time. It's special. Nobody else can be around, because the privacy that it requires and the intimacy that it requires is something beautiful in itself. And these are simple things that you can do where you're just simply meditating in the moonlight, naked, alone, with the energy of the moon, with the energy of the Creator, where it feels sacred and intimate. And there is an aspect of you that sets something apart about that. It's not the norm. We don't normally do it. We're normally clothed. We're normally covered when we come and we commune or we meditate or we're in our yoga clothes. There's something sacred when we declothe or we bathe or we purify the body of nothing else. There's nothing else here. It's just me and you. And have that time of meditation and prayer. And if you are praying, say the prayers out loud. Talk like you are talking. Because when we get in our head and we say prayers in our head, it's really easy to get distracted and to start the to-do list or something somebody said to you, or a worry about your child, or something. And the mind doesn't hold the sincere space as an out loud conversation. Right? It's hard to trail off when you're saying stuff out loud. So that's my other piece of advice or kind of direction and homework, is to get alone, get naked, get private and sacred, and speak out loud to the moon, to something, to your great Creator, to your connection with the universe and the divine that feels sacred and intimate to you, where you come with nothing else but yourself, but your soul, and nothing in between. I think that's a beautiful form of connection that is just yours and yours alone. Yeah, I think those three things, I'll give you those three things as homework: to stargaze, feel the wonder and the energy of something so much bigger than you, and sit in that wonder. Let your head freaking explode with spirit. When you stretch yourself like that and live in that wonder, it makes you crave that relationship. Like when you first get to know or first get a phone number, that same analogy where you're like, I don't know anything about them. I just want to know. That wonder and basking in that wonder will really strengthen your relationship and your connection and that love aspect that doesn't need ceremony or practices around it, okay? And then getting outside and communing with animals, speaking to animals, sitting in nature and watching them and the way that they are. This is also a sense of wonder and connection, and then developing that mediumship and telepathic communication to where you can get really good at it, to where you realize, wow, this is absolutely magical, and I'm there's so much more that's beyond, right? And these are the aspects of spirit that's so often that magic that's missing from the infused aspect of our ritual and our practices. And then that last piece of recommendation or advice or homework, which is to get naked, get alone, get private and intimate, and meditate and pray out loud. Make it a beautiful form of just personal, absolute honesty. Nakedness is also that symbol of like complete transparency. Like this is it. I'm not hiding anything. This is my bare body and soul in connection. And I think that's a beautiful space to also infuse into your relationship and connection with Source. So great question. I hope it blesses you. I will be back here next week with another answer to another topic. We'll see you guys. Blessings.